Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Porch Talk. This is episode 17. This episode is brought to you by Wyatt pole holders. If you have fishing poles that you'd like to display safely on the wall or just need a way to get them off the floor, Wyatt pole holders has what you need. Sold on Etsy, has a nice selection of fishing racks to fit your needs. Pine, oak, and poplar are just some of the wood used to craft these beautiful racks. Engravings are also available upon request.
You live in Southwest Virginia, Southern West Virginia, or Eastern Kentucky, find yourself looking for an equipment rental, give Cantrell Holdings Equipment Rental a call at 276-596-3078. They have excavators, backhoes, loaders, and jackhammers available. Cantrell Holdings Equipment Rentals has equipment for any job, big or small. Be sure to give their Facebook page a like and follow to learn more about their equipment rental options, including their operator services.
Well, we're back, guys. It's been a few weeks. I think that a lot of things played into it. Work. Me and Jamar both had to work late on a few different occasions, and then we had the holidays, and we're still going through the holidays. So we're trying to put pieces together in between to put this out for you guys. And I think in a way it was like a nice little recharging period too, because we put a lot into the football season. People don't really realize how, I ain't gonna say difficult, but how much time it takes to do some of this stuff, and to do it with with our jobs and family and stuff, it gets a little taxing. So I think this is kind of a good recharging period that we had the last few weeks. But dang, man, it's good to be back on here with you.
Yeah, we had a boys join the porch in there that turned out had quite a few. I don't know what the word you call it is. We didn't go viral, but we got bombarded with comments, and especially from Alabama fans. I think we might be some of the most hated people in Alabama right now.
Crackheads, from what I heard.
Yeah, crackheads. We're known crackheads.
Yeah.
What else? There was several. We've had a show last year. Did you hear about that? I went back and seen our episodes from last year.
Yeah, that's what he said.
A lot of interesting stuff. Yeah, stuff I didn't know was out there. But it shows you how seriously SEC fans take their football, I guess, because some of them got really, really upset from that three people. They had no idea who we were, even mentioned or had an opinion about Alabama getting beat. So that was fun. It was kind of interesting to see how they all reacted to that. But
I was gonna say the Florida State take that Rusty gave you during that boys join the porch, it ended up pulling ahead as far as not necessarily comments, but views and stuff. Between the two videos, it was over 30,000 views the last I looked.
Yeah.
So that was wild.
Most of the comments I seen were about the Alabama Michigan.
Yeah, the comments was way worse on it.
I didn't see. I didn't see any kind of view numbers, but I know the comments. I got one today. The Porch Talk's Facebook page.
I still get them.
Yeah, I got a comment today from Steel, and that was however long ago, and it's just been kind of crazy to. I didn't really care before who won. Like I wouldn't really.
Yeah.
I would rather see Michigan win, but like I didn't really care. Now I'm a little bit more invested now. I'm actually really pulling for Michigan to win because, but I don't care either way. It's fun. So
I like all the feedback. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You gotta now I know why you hear these like comedians or just anybody that all these podcasts we listen to. Now I know why they say don't read the comments, because first of all, it's so time consuming. You can't read them all. And then there's some people out there that if you were one person that really cared what somebody said, you might really start second guessing what you're doing. So I get it completely now.
Have you ever watched the movie? It's a Disney movie, but it's called Wreck-It Ralph.
I've heard of it. I ain't watched it.
Yeah, well, one of them is the second one's called Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, and he's trying to build up some funds, and so he's doing some stupid stuff like videos online to make money, and he ends up wandering into the comment section, and he starts reading all the comments, and he ends up getting in his feels and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I feel like if you which not that none of it bothered me, but that's what it's kind of like when you go into that comment section. It's like you can't get out. You just keep reading it. And like, oh, that's funny. That's funny.
You know, yeah. To me, it was a lot. Most of it was just funnier, but I really was amazed at how mad people really got that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
fight mad.
like just over, like I said, over people that they have no idea who in the world we are.
Yeah,
no idea. We really could be crackheads for all they know. We could be on this podcast doing drugs, not having any idea what we're saying, and they wouldn't know the difference. And they got really upset about us picking Alabama, especially you saying it might not be close. They didn't like it at all.
My favorite thing was all the people in the comments said, "Saving this for later."
Yeah,
I was like, "Please do, please do, please screenshot it." And then if I'm wrong, and that's fine, and I'm wrong a lot, please share it on every social media that you have. I'd love for it to blow up.
You know, if Michigan wins, I'm gonna be like Dion. I'm gonna keep receipts.
There you go.
You know, and we'll make sure to let each one know. But we also had our own little troll that was going through there, instigating, getting people going. That was fun. So
yeah, he enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah, who needs haters when? But yeah, it was very interesting. But I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad to be back on talking about some local stuff now. I hate that we missed this much of the first part of the basketball season. Wish we could have got some guys on the Boys Doing the Porch, some guys who played basketball, and talk about, their experiences and like what it's like basketball season starting. Some of their thoughts on it, but I mean, this has always been my favorite time of the year. Just because I mean, I was more of a basketball player than anything. I love football, but I always had more success in basketball. So just naturally, that was my favorite time of the year. So I'm excited to watch this season and looking forward to covering some of it. And as always, we'll try to shine some light on some of these kids, real local kids, and ones who are doing good.
Yeah,
sportsman teams.
Yeah, and we have a lot of things planned going forward. A lot of coaches and players that we want to have on. Which players I'm sure will change here and there based on week to week. Kind of how we did in football season. We try to get on ones that they've had a big week or whatever. But even with that, whatever ones we can get on, whoever we can get on is great. Because I love the player interviews. I think it was the highlight of football season that we had. And we'll get coaches on, and we'll also have a few special guest episodes, which those are also very entertaining. It's a little more in depth if you haven't seen them already. We have a few out with Coach Tester, Krieger, Wicks, and we got one Brady Hess as well. And those episodes really dive down into their career. Really from the moment when they were kids, and they fell in love with whatever particular sport they had or the field that they covered, and all the way up through. But those are things we're going to have planned in basketball season as well with a few people.
What I realized also, there's several during football that we wanted to do and still plan to do at some point that we didn't get to.
Oh, yeah, plenty.
And that's just the ones that we actually had talked about, not ones that we had conversations with people.
Yeah.
Not even ones that me and you discussed. And we also have, I know of at least 3 musicians that we have reached out and talked to that are going to come on.
Yeah.
So it's, what I realize is there's not as much time as you think to do these things. So we need to make a list, I guess, so we don't, forget. But I just hopefully people will understand, that we are going to get all these people on. It's not going to be possible to get everyone on during whatever specific season that it is at that time. So, but we are going to do most of that stuff. But would like to try to do like basketball players during basketball, especially the players.
Yeah.
But as far as special guests go, we got a lot lined up. Just want to let everybody know that we're trying to get to them. So hopefully after the Christmas and all that, maybe things settle down a bit, we can we can try to get back into that.
Yeah, a lot of exciting things. A lot to look forward to. We've not had this podcast that long. I mean, that's what I think every now and then I have to take a step back and realize that this is episode 17. We have plenty of boys join the porch and special guest episodes and stuff like that. But still, we're probably not even 30 episodes in, and I feel like we've already came pretty far, and we've been fortunate enough to have the people on that we have had on. So it's like that. A lot of exciting things going forward. This episode is going to be, I don't want to say a quick run through, but we had talked about it, and we're going to try to give our brief thoughts on, or recap, I guess, on high school football, because we hadn't really got to kind of have closure with it, because we were going to come on the day before, I think, or maybe 2 days before the state championship, and we were going to recap the state semis and preview the state championship. It didn't get to work out, so we would like to just kind of close that out for the year, and kind of give our brief overview of it, and then we would also give their thoughts on high school basketball, like Jamor had already mentioned, and we're going to do a quick run through preview, if you will, with some high school basketball. We'll mention some teams and stuff we're going to be on the lookout for, maybe some players here and there, maybe in 1A, 2A, but we also want to cover varsity girls as well as varsity boys, and we'll hit on those, and then we will hop into some college basketball and maybe some just other things before we head off of here. Going forward, we will continue, like we had said, with some players and some coaches and stuff, and we'll be more in detail with the week-to-week stuff, and you had mentioned maybe doing like some rankings week to week. So if you listen to this, yes, we're going to touch on a lot, but a lot of your in detail stuff we're really going to get into going forward. So that's I mean, you got anything else, Jamar, before we can recap the high school football stuff?
No, let's go ahead.
All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and I kind of want to talk about, just very quick, because we didn't get a chance to do this on air, the state semi game we went to. We went to the Honecker and Galax state semifinal game a few weeks ago, and endured the whole rainstorm. We were soaked. We stayed, though, right up until the end, and it was a good game. I think that we both wanted to see it go another way. We wasn't real shy about that. We said it, when we interviewed Aiden right before the game, and the game started out hot. Like, I really thought that Honecker was going to run away with it. They had a lot of good opportunities, and this is a few weeks out now, so we're going off of memory from a few weeks ago. But I know they had a lot of great opportunities. They came out hot, and then they had a few unfortunate turnovers that really swung the momentum.
Yeah, the turnovers got them, just derailed everything, really. They erased their lead they'd built, and then after that, they allowed Galax to build a lead, and then after that, they couldn't stop the running back from Galax. And then when they did get them in situations where third and longs or something, Galax just made enough plays in the passing game or whatever else to keep chains moving. And Honecker was kind of, by the time halftime rolled around, it had started raining. I think that affected some play calling, and stuff, and they weren't able to hit those deep threats late in the game, and it's kind of just one of those deals where it was almost a tale of kind of like their season. I mean, they not early season, but kind of like their late season in the playoffs. It was, look great one minute, then have a couple mistakes here or there, and then settle in and look really good, but then either have something go your way, or or not go your way was the outcome. So a few plays opposite direction, and they win, but it's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean that running back from Galax, he was a bruiser. I mean, he's a heck of a back. I don't think that I don't think you can talk about that game without mentioning him. I mean, for me,
he's Galax. He's what Galax. I mean,
yeah,
as much as Patrick Henry relies on good speed, Galax goes as he goes. So
yeah, and when he was out of the game, you could tell a difference. Now I know the other kid they had, I can't remember his name. He did have a big run right there at the end. That was a huge play. But for the most part, it was him. Like it was the starting running back they had. He was great. I mean, like I say, he's just a bruiser. With that being said, Honecker had opportunities down towards the end, and even when I thought, okay, this might be it, we might have an early exit, we might head on out of here. They had to stop, and then had another opportunity, and it was.
We were talking about it with Garrett while we were standing there in the end zone. Galax, instead of running the ball there at the end, was passing it and really let Honecker hang around longer than they really should have. Probably, not sure, what the thinking was there, but it was really wasn't over until there was. I mean, up until that last under a couple minutes there, it was Honecker still could have got right back in it.
Yeah, and I mean, I was impressed by their fight. They didn't give up. It kind of sucked for me. I'm sure you probably felt the same way. To have that player interview with Aiden Lowe that week, and just see what a great kid he is, and doing some of those interviews kind of makes it more personable to me. And so then you get in that game and you see those guys fall. It sucks. Like I hated to see it for them because I know it's a bunch of great kids. They had a Southwest Virginia photography. They did a great job of capturing some of the moments in that game, and even some of the sadder moments at the end, with the loss and stuff like that. But overall, I was very impressed. Even though they had lost, I was very impressed with the fight they had, even up until the end. And that crowd, I mean, even though they were getting to where they were down maybe more than what I thought they could come back from, the crowd never wavered. I mean, they had a full house over there. And even with the rain, it didn't seem like they really checked out early or anything. So I think overall, I mean, I know you want the state championship, but if you look back on it, year two with Coach Tiller and year two at the air raid, I think that you can't really ask for much more than that.
No, I mean, once you get that far and you have an undefeated regular season and the hype builds around it and you get those expectations, then obviously, you get to a certain point where you can see a state championship, and so that's your goal. I don't know how many teams. I'm sure there's some out there, and it may have honestly even been Honecker's sitting out at the start of this season, but very few teams look at it like state championship or bust this year as a goal. Usually it's when they keep it, win your district, win your region, and you go from there. But at a certain point, it was obvious to everyone. It was no denying it that that was what people were talking about. That was their goal. But when you make it to the state semis, I mean, regardless of how good you are, at that point, like I said, it doesn't take much to lose. A couple of mistakes here or there can call. Everybody's good at that point. So, I mean, you have to. I don't want to say you have to play a perfect game, but one play can determine a game against a very good team, and they had a couple of plays that really I think they'd like to have back. But hats off to them on an amazing season. I mean, undefeated regular season, region championship, and shout out to Galax. Went on to win the state championship.
Yep.
We could talk about that game, but everybody fall asleep.
Yeah, it was a tight one, but
it was it wasn't very interesting down to the last play, or last couple plays. I guess the two safeties and then the field goal they won by. But yeah, congratulations to Honecker on a great year. Congratulations to Galax. good to have the championship on this side of the state. I know Galax isn't in our region, but they are in Southwest Virginia. You know, I mean, part of it. So it's better to have it over here, you know, than on the other end. So congratulations to them.
Yeah, just to echo what you said. Congratulations to Galax and congratulations to Honaker. The records were being broke every week. I mean, you had kids that played this year that will go down in Honaker history forever, and it almost seems. I mean, I guess if you was really close to the situation or to the team last year, you probably saw some of this coming. But I think for me, looking at it, you know, we covered, or not covered, but we went to like some Grundy games and some others last year, and we saw Honaker at a distance to see what they maybe could be. But this year, hearing those names like Parker Bandy and Aiden Lowe, which I mean, Aiden had a great year last year too, don't get me wrong, but Peyton Music really took off. Then you had Avery and even Tyler Call. I mean, the names just keep going on and on and on. But some of those guys, it seemed like every week they were breaking records, and I wish the best for the ones that are graduating because they have some college looks at them. I mean, some are some D2 schools and stuff, and I think any of those schools would be very fortunate to have one of these kids come play for them. And Peyton Music's going to be back next year. And
Yeah, and you know, we mentioned Avery. I really wish he could have been healthy this year. I think he would have made a huge difference for them.
I think so too.
It's not. I think it's really forgotten about. But you know, every team has injury problems, and that's just part of it, especially late in the year. But he was a vital part of their on both sides. I think he was starting corner on defense too. So, but yeah, that really kind of. I mean, they dealt with it for the majority of the year, but that would have been a much better team, obviously, because you just changed the whole dynamic of what a defense can do against you when you have him on one side and Parker on the other side, along with all the other weapons with Malachi Lowe and Aiden and all just all the, they have guys that I don't even know what their names. Couldn't tell you a lot of them names right off. Very capable receiver. I mean, they all made plays.
Yeah.
So yeah, they would have been different, but that's how it goes.
Well, I was going to say, before we get off of this and maybe talk about the 2A for a second, Peyton Music won WCYB, News Channel 5 Player of the Year. So that's a pretty big deal. Congratulations to him. Cam Goodspeed won the WJHL 11 High School Football Player of the Year award. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool, in my opinion, for those two guys to get those. We've talked about them all year, and in particular, Goodspeed. We've had him on here, and he's a great kid.
Yeah,
so
congratulations to both of them. Yeah, the fact that Honaker has the Music Brothers back, I got a feeling that there'll be some records maybe next year up for grabs if they can put some films to spots around them two. But yeah, congratulations to both of them. But
well, speaking of returning players, we might want to mention a team here in 2A that's going to have a lot of returning players next year. But that fell short, though.
Well, a lot returning, but they'll be missing one, the most important one, obviously. But you had the two best players in the state as far as, especially in 2A, playing against each other. Graham and Radford.
Yeah, you had Landon Clark and Clements.
And, Clements.
Tydras Clements.
Yeah. In my opinion, the best running back, around here. I don't think there's any question.
No.
I don't think anybody can make any argument with that. And then Clark, probably obviously the best quarterback. Going to Elon, very good quarterback. I mean, the Radford's a really good football team. So congratulations to them for winning 2A. Graham, it's hard to go. But mention how hard it is to win one. That would have made back to back for them.
Yeah.
So, it's just shows how hard for year in year out it is to, just to get there is, but then them to go back to back, it's a huge accomplishment.
Well, you mentioned, which I mean, to Graham, yeah, congratulations to them. And like I said, like you said, they have a lot coming back. They do have to replace Clements, but I think I'm sure they'll have some talent coming up that they'll be able to do that. They got a great coaching staff, and with the returners they got, I mean, they're still going to be good. Going to be very good. Radford, you mentioned Landon Clark. He was first team All-State. He posted something here the other day, just kind of brief overview of some of their accolades, and I'm not going to mention all of them, but I did notice something whenever he put it on there, and I guess it was their offense, or this might even be his stats. I can't remember, but it was 4,583 yards of total yards. And I guess that's just his stats, which is it's crazy that I'm looking at it and I'm like, maybe it has total team. It has to be total team offense, but no, this is just his stats, I guess. And 4,583 total yards, third most in VHSL history for total yards. So I thought that was pretty impressive. I wanted to mention that. He was a 3,000 plus yard thrower with 40 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards rushing, 26 touchdowns. He had 71 tackles and 10 picks and 5 touchdowns on defense. I mean, that kid was great all year. And so, yeah, hats off to them. And they didn't play a slouch in the state championship. They played a team that had been there quite a bit.
Yeah, I said that about I can't remember the kid's name, but I said that about Clements being the best run back. Guy from Riverheads is is pretty daggone good too.
Oh yeah, he is. I can't remember his name, but I was reading them.
He's a load. Yeah, he'll be playing somewhere, I'm sure. Next
and they'll
year,
be back.
Yeah,
they're going to make it back up there again. I mean that program, it's amazing. I think the head coach had already maybe retired. I'm not even. I think it's maybe a different coach, but I mean the culture is still there, and they got their system and they've got it down.
It's a very odd running system. Like I don't even know what you even.
Single wing, in it. I think.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what they define it, which one they define it as, but it's basically a quarterback tosses and turns into a lead blocker on a lot of plays. It's very weird. It's so much different than what they were going up against. Like it's two completely different teams.
Yeah, that's what would have been interesting.
Which is what cost Riverheads. They, once they got down, they, you can't. Even if you do put a really good drive together and score, you're taking so much time off the clock to do it. That if you get down more than a score or two, that it's hard to get back in it.
Yeah. Well, I think overall, though, we got this podcast started during football season. A big part of this podcast is success, and I think the interest that we had has been surrounded with high school football to begin with. And so I'm very thankful for every coach, every player that we had on. But just looking back on it, there was so many great things, great players that we didn't even get a chance to have on, but we love talking about. I mean, you look at some of the quarterbacks in this area with Creasy, and we mentioned Peyton Music, and you had Reese from Lebanon. I think the guy from Union, I mean, he was great.
He's second team All-State.
Yeah, I mean, the players in this area has been crazy, and you got a lot of players coming back. Creasy's coming back. Look at all the stuff he had.
Yeah, Union I think gets a lot back. Also, they're going to be really good again. Next year too. Speaking of coming back, you got Rycove players coming back. They got a lot. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be here before you know it.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, as we get closer to the start of football season next year, we'll probably get some coaches on and stuff like that, and really get the season preview.
Yeah, we'll have a better understanding and grasp about what we want to do next year leading up to the football season. So it should be a lot more fun, and we can do like more of a deep dive into it. and be ready for it next year.
Yep. Well, I guess let's not waste any more time. I ain't gonna say waste time. We ain't waste time, but let's go ahead and jump in some high school basketball.
Well, we kind of figured, I guess we'll just kind of hit some high spots on these districts and give like a brief summary of what we've, been told or read, or just kind of, some information we've got. We've not really got to do a whole lot of research and stuff into basketball yet, but it's early in the season, so we know a few things. But as far as getting into it, we'll just kind of hit the high notes and give a summary of what we think, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. But we'll start in the Black Diamond District, since that's where we're from. We'll go over the girls first. The poll, the coaches poll and the votes. Grundy's, projected to be the best, number one in that one. Then had Hurley at 2, Twin Valley and Council at 3 and 4. This honestly, this was kind of surprising. I mean, Grundy obviously, I think will be the favorite.
Yeah.
I've not watched any of them, but I could see those last 3 teams all battling for second place. And I wouldn't really lean one way more than the other right now. But I know, Neil over at Council's got a good young team, and his daughter Ella is really good. So if you go on just best players in the district, I mean, as far as what I know and remember, she's probably your preseason, I guess, if you want to call it, but picked to win the player of the year in the district this year, I would imagine, because they might not have enough yet to where they can compete with Grundy to win it, but we'll see how that goes. But she's got to be the favorite as far as best player in the district this year, I would imagine.
And I know that they may not be the favorite, but Coach Moore, we got his 300th win.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, congratulations to him. I don't know how many coaches around here have achieved that. Do you?
No, I mean not. I mean, maybe I'm not, into it.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
in the
gotta
past, to watch it.
I kind of talked to him a little bit about it. I messaged him, congratulated him, but he was, he even said, been blessed to have some good players, which I think is part of it. You have to have, not the player. I think it was Tester talking about, it's the Jimmys and the Joes, not the X and O's, but you have to know, you have to have good players, but you have to know a thing or two and be a good coach to, you can't just go out there and wing it and get to 300. But what I told him is part of getting to that many wins is also having the patience and the love for the game to, deal with everything you have to deal with and the time you have to spend away from, family or whatever to put that much time into doing it long enough to get 300 wins. I'm sure there's a lot of really good coaches out there that just didn't want to do it long enough to get there, but it's almost a testament to, how time he's been willing to put in to get to 300. So congratulations to him. And he has had a lot of good players. I mean, boys and girls both. He's had some good ones, but he's also put time and the work into it to making all of them better and having some good teams. So I want to say congratulations to him.
Yeah, and I mean,
go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that you never know. I know that Grundy has. I think they're going to be pretty good, like you had mentioned. But those other teams, you never know who might take off, and I think that sometimes when you get overlooked like that, it really motivates a team. And in particular, I mean, I know with Coach Moore anyway, he's a great motivator, and so Twin Valley or and Neil's great basketball mind. I mean, one of those teams could just
really
take off this year and compete.
Both of them, and and I don't know how much if you've seen of Ella, but I follow them on Facebook and everything, and she's one of the harder working players you'll ever find. See her around here for sure. She puts work in. I don't know how she's not. I don't know how she has the energy to do what she does. Honestly, I can't remember what it's like to be that young, but I don't. She has to be exhausted all the time. But she's pretty good. I've not got to see her play in person yet, but I mean she has all the tools and the skills and stuff to be really good. So I'm looking forward to watching her play and in person and getting to watch her actually be out on the court, doing that and playing. But yeah, like I said, Neil's high basketball IQ, been around the game his whole life, so knows enough to where he's going to have them ready to play every night. Beefy's done a good job at Hurley. They've increased their win numbers every year he's been there, and obviously more at Twin Valley. And I was talking about Moore's 300 wins. Some of the best coaching jobs that I think he's done over the years has been in years where they weren't projected to be very good.
Yeah.
Like his teams, some of those teams he had that weren't predicted to win, or districts or whatever, and people kind of count them out. I think those are some of his best coaching jobs, is getting those teams to be a competitor, in the district. So this is one of those years where maybe they're overlooking them, and maybe he can do the same thing. Maybe he can, kind of sneak under the radar and get a team that nobody's really picking, and get them playing good at the right time and get them up there. But in the boys' side of it, Grundy, I think is hands down the favorite, and it's really not even close in my opinion. I don't think they'll have any problem at all in the district this year. Hurley was second, and Council in Twin Valley was tied at 3 in the preseason poll. I don't think, like I said, it's not even really anything to talk about first place. Grundy is favorite. Go ahead. What are your thoughts on?
No, I mean I was going to say Logan Lester. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the football stars they had, and so he's great for him. Jonah Looney, though, he's the one that I think really stands out. If I'm not mistaken, it's the brother of the other Looney, right? That played on the team that went so far.
At Emory now. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Cade, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's Cade.
Really good. Yeah, he's he's at Emory. I think he's doing a really good job at Emory from what I've seen, and it's really being a big factor there, contributing.
Yeah, I want to say that
second year there. I think.
I want to say that Jonah got his 1,000th point.
I think I've seen that
a week or two ago. So, congratulations to him. And,
I mean, he was last year's player here in the district. Averaged 18 points a game, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks a game. So, I mean, he's back. You got Landon Johnson that was all region last year, averaged 13 points a game last year. Caleb Conway, I think, averaged 9 points a game last year. Like you said, Logan last year averaged 7 points a game. So they got production coming back again this year. So can they compete in the region? I think they'll be one of the teams in the mix. We'll get to that later if you want. I don't think they'll be able to win region this year, but you never know when it gets that late in the year. You never know what's going to happen. They could get a lot better throughout the year, so we'll see how that goes.
I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the region. Like I said, we'll get to it later. I know they did have a game with Lebanon already, where I think Lebanon was able to pull that one out, if I remember right, but from a pretty big night from Reese.
Well, Lebanon's 2A, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, they played, so they played last year, but then I guess Lebanon went up.
They're 2A this year, so they won't be in the
so that's true.
Them, but shout out to Council. They didn't have a team last year. I mean, which is amazing to think Council didn't have a basketball team. It's really the only thing that, they don't have. Well, they have baseball, but they don't have football there. So for them to have a team back on the court is a good thing. It's really wild, that as good as they were, what was that, 21, 22 years ago when they won the state championship, and good throughout the 90s and the early 2000s and into the mid 2000s. And to go from that, which it's a numbers thing, obviously, it's numbers of kids, but it's just weird not seeing Council have a basketball team last year. So glad they're back on the court.
I was gonna say before you got off here, Cole Payne, is it first year for him?
First year,
yeah.
Twin Valley, the 0-21 last year. They've already got a win, so that's good. They're going to struggle this year again. I think they're, it's just how it is. As much as I, love Twin Valley, not really no way to sugarcoat it. I think they're going to have a long year again, but already got a win, so better than last year. That's such a hard position to be in too, because any county school like that, knowing you're going to be consolidating in a couple of years, few years, whatever, I'm sure that they're all still working very hard, but it's got to suck knowing, that's coming up and looming on the horizon. So, it's almost, I don't want to say it's almost like a let's just get through it type of situation, but, it is what it is.
Yeah,
I guess.
We had mentioned it a few times in football, and which I think you definitely have some figures in football that will be vying for that head coaching job when that time comes around. But same thing in basketball. You got to think of it like this: that it's almost like you're auditioning for the big one, because you have a couple of really good years. Who knows? I mean, I know Grundy has had the success. Who knows if Coach Looney's wanting to take that, or I know that's a whole ordeal down the road, but you have to look at it from these other coaches' perspective that you never know. You need to have some progress and show some positive signs of building a culture, and at least throw your name in the ring. I mean, who knows?
Do you want me to be honest, or you want me, or just we just agree and move on?
Well, I just
not say. Should I not be controversial and say something that people won't like, or?
Well, I mean, I'm sure
I'll let you pick. I'm up for either one. I'll let you pick.
No, I'm sure that there's people I'm sure that have their hands in it already, that probably have an idea of who they want, but nevertheless, I think that it would be beneficial to anybody to go ahead and lay a good, have some groundwork on who you are as a coach, and maybe it could create opportunities even if you don't get on that staff for that school. You can still lay some groundwork there to where you might have an opportunity elsewhere.
I like the way you put it. We'll leave it at that. Yeah. We're not going to talk about council not being part of the county school, because I think it's I don't want to get people riled up again either, but I think it's the stupidest thing in the world to have a county consolidation but leave them out. I know there's logistical nightmares as far as travel and bus rides, and the same for Hurley and all that, but so that's a whole other monster of a conversation that we won't get into, but I just think it's crazy that's even going to be happening. But anyway, I just want to throw it out there. I think how crazy I think the consolidation stuff is right now, the way they're doing it. But that's your Black Diamond District, unless you got anything else you wanted to throw out.
No, I'm just we didn't get a chance to make it to Hoopalachia. Had some stuff going on, but looking forward to maybe getting over there and maybe watching even Twin Valley or watching some games with Grundy. And that's their neck of the woods over that way, and I think it's a great area for basketball. So I'm just excited to get in some of those basketball arenas again.
So you got the Hogle-Higgy girls. Honestly, there's really not much for us to hit on in this one. I don't think. Not a powerhouse of a district. Royal Retreat was projected, second. Holston third, Chill Halley, Patrick Henry tied at fourth, Northwood sixth. Nothing really jumps out. Royal Treat and Honecker.
I was going to say there's one that jumps out.
Honecker obviously
Yeah.
won, but kind of like the boys in the Black Diamond District. I don't think there's really any doubt in who the favorite is in this one. And if people thought we were a Talking Tigers podcast during football season, they're really going to hate me during basketball season because,
Well, I mean,
Honecker's girls are probably going to win regions.
Yeah. Honecker's girls are probably the best team, boys or girls, in this area.
I mean,
if you look at, which they've been great for years. So I know they had fell short last year.
You can't deny the success they've had over the last however many years. Misty Davis Miller, my opinion, one of the best coaches, male or female, around here. Just that, which I like that style. It's defense first type of thing, and good man to man, which is But I put her up there with anybody, and they've backed it up year in year out. Again, you have to have good players, but you have to be able to take those players, and she has consistently now for however many years, or they won 3 in a row that there for a minute.
I think they ended up falling short last year, but that would have been their 4th consecutive one. They lost in overtime to Burton.
And that's the good thing. I was going to say, I didn't interrupt you, but Burton's really good again. Eastside's going to be good again. And girls, the 1A Region D 1A girls is going to be very competitive, I think. But Honecker's going to be right in the mix for that one, for that again. Yeah, but they win that district easy, I would imagine.
I think something that you had mentioned that, and maybe I'm, of course, looking at it from the outside in. For me, when I've saw stuff about them over the last few years, it wasn't like somebody had just player-wise stuck out head and shoulders way better than everybody else on those teams for Honecker. It seemed like they always had a good mixture of players to where you might have this one score a lot one night, this one score a lot one night, but it was good and balanced. And you even look at it this year. The Kate Jesse, she's one of the names that's being mentioned quite a bit, and I think she had a good game the other day. But McNulty, Miller, Nolly, if I'm saying that right, she had a good game. I think it was the other day. They just had lost to Carroll County again, and they were back-to-back 3A state champs. Mm-hmm. And so that's I think they lost to them twice this year. But to play them, and we talked about it before we got on here, Carroll County has a Elon commit. So small D1 school, they lost to them by just a few points. So that's a great test, and I think they even got a tourney coming up here soon. I had it wrote down, but they got another little tourney coming up here soon, which I'm sure they're going to do just as good in.
I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if they're, the Arbage Classic, right? The men's tournament they have a women's version of that now. This week coming up, starting Thursday. And it might not be now. I say now, but this is the first year I've heard of it. I don't know if it's been going on for a couple of years now or not, but this is the first year I know of it. That they have kind of the same format where they have local teams, but they also have trying to get some of these bigger teams to come into it. And are they playing in it? Is that the one they're playing in?
Yeah, so it's going to be they play Tennessee High Thursday in the first round, and it's the Doc Maples Holiday Hoops Invitational.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing as the Arbage Classic for girls. I know Mark told me that there's a girl from one of those bigger Tennessee schools that are coming in that's committed to. God, what did he tell me? It's D1. I can't remember which D1 it was. That'd be a really good thing to try to go to this weekend. But if it wasn't Christmas, stuff like that. But you talk about the girls that they've had, not one player. They've had players that stick out, stand out. But to your point, they have been very balanced. Like those players aren't like you could obviously pick look at it and be like, well, that's their best all around player, but they've had very good. They got contributions from a lot of different people, and so it's not like you're not completely relying on one person. One night. That's been their strength. Where you can rely on it. If that one player's having an off night, you have had people step up and have better nights.
I guess what I was gonna say, my point is, kind of like the girl from Carroll County, Alyssa Irvin is her name, and she had 43 of the 60 points. It just seems like Honecker don't like have that one that's going to drop 40 or whatever. But I think it makes it more dangerous, the fact that
see, Carroll County didn't have that last year. They graduated a lot because they won back to back. They had a big graduating. Like they lost quite a bit. I think they only got 2 starters back. I think is what I heard. But she's now left over from that, and obviously a very good player. But she does have to have a high volume night for them to be competitive, obviously. But she's pretty good. I watched her play over there at Honecker a couple weeks ago. She can get where she wants to go, and Honecker did a really good job of making her work for everything she got. That's, in my opinion, that's what set Honecker apart from some of these other teams the last little bit is just their defense. They're relentless, nonstop, good man to man. They've had the girls to do that with. They've had athletic teams, quick teams, and they just play good defense. Like you can score all you want, but if you can't stop anybody, it's a problem. And they play pretty good defense. I mean, we'll get to the region here in a minute, but just throw out a couple of names. The Taylor Nolly or whatever, however say her name. She's actually signed to play at UVA Wise next year. So she's a really good shooter. And she was kind of cold from outside in that game I watched her play Carroll County. But the other girl you was talking about, the post player, not a very tall, as far as post players go, but plays bigger than she is. I can't remember her name. Jessie, did you say? Is that what it was?
Yeah, Jessie.
Yeah, she impressed me a lot the other night when, as far as in the post on offense. She's, like I said, she's not that tall, but she plays bigger than she is. She's got good moves and stuff. So they got a good core group there. That's going to be, they're really athletic again. They've played a lot of basketball together, a lot of games, so they'll be a tough team to beat coming into the year.
They are in a new district this year, so it'll be good for them to have some different teams to play against. And Real Retreat, they had won the regular season title 3 years in a row.
Yeah. That's that'll be their competition. I mean, it'll be down to those 2 teams, for sure. So, I think the rest of those teams in that district didn't have a winning record last year. So
Chilhowie didn't play.
Chilhowie didn't play. Northwood was 0-22. So here's a crazy thing I seen on the Bristol paper. Northwood won the state championship in 2016, and they've not had a winning record season since. So that's kind of wild.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I hadn't remember reading that, but I forgot about it. And he said that.
I didn't get to really look up anything on the Hogle-Higgy boys. I don't think I did. No.
Yeah, I think I had some stuff.
I say go ahead. I'll tell you what I heard, and then let's see if it kind of lines up what you got, and I'll let you go with it. But basically, Honecker and Chilhowie are going to be your top 2 teams in that district, probably. Your favored ones, anyway.
Well, I had say I did. Give me a brief moment here. So pretty much, obviously, like you just said, Honecker is going to be, in my opinion, the favorite. They had lost tonight, I think, by 8 to Union, and I think you had said Union may have lost a few guys from last year.
Well, I
but
think they did, but
I'm sure they're still.
I think they were going to be young,
impressive.
maybe from what I remember seeing. But they got Corey Bostick took over this year as the coach. He'd been the girls' coach, I think, and he's had a lot of success there. I'm pretty sure he was the girls' coach. But nonetheless, he was a really good high school player, and he's been a good coach for a while, I think. So, so they're going to be probably pretty good. I don't know what they got exactly, but it's not really a bad loss, I wouldn't think, for Honecker, especially still coming off of football season and still probably trying to get some rust off and stuff. So.
Well, they're going to be the preseason favorites to win it in the district. They were Region 1D runner-up last year. Reached the state tournament, the first time since 2018?
Been a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's been a minute. They lost to Auburn last year, but they got a lot of guys coming back. You got Parker Bandy that's coming back. He had 10 points and 6 rebounds last year, and Music averaged around 10 points as well. And I think Music out there in the basketball court with his height and athleticism, I'm sure he can cause some issues for some people.
I mean, yeah, the athleticism, yeah, for sure. Because he can guard. He's one of those bigs, tall enough to guard a true post player. But you've seen how athletic he is. He could guard even, move his feet good enough to be able to guard on the perimeter also. But the key there is the kid from Lebanon, King, I think's his name, the big guy.
Yeah, that's gonna get to him.
He's a solid player, man. He's really good. That changed, that changed things for them completely. They're actually a big team, I think. He's adding him to it because he's like 6'6", 6'7", maybe.
He's 6'8", yeah.
6'8", yeah. So
6'8", senior.
Yeah, if they can get some consistent shooting around and Coach Waylon Hart's coach, so with a Waylon Hart team, you're gonna play good defense first of all.
Yeah. Well, Jalen, he his son, right? And
I think that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the Black Diamond District Defensive Player of the Year last year.
Oh yeah. So he comes from that. Lee Clark played for Lee Clark at Clinch Valley then. You're very wise now.
Yeah.
He played with when my Uncle Jeff was there, when Coach Vermillion that coached at Gate City was there. What's his name from Council? Mike Ratliff played there, I think. Then a lot of local guys played right and around that same time over there. But you can almost guarantee anything if a guy played for Coach Clark, you can almost guarantee they're going to be a very good defensive team. And that's no different, than like Gate City for years, and now Honecker, like TJ McAmis that used to coach at Y Central. Same thing with him. He played there under that group, I think. So there's that kind of group of coaches that come out of that little, I don't know, that clash, whatever you want to call it, but that program. You can always guarantee they're going to play really, really hard. They're going to play really good defense. And Honecker's no different. So then you add in the athletes to go along with it, the size. It's just going to be a really good combination. I think they have a really, really good chance to, again, certain people are going to say we're a Talking Tigers podcast, but they got a real good chance to win state this year. I don't know what's out of the region. I know George Witz is going to be really good in boys again. But, you never know what's going to happen. So once you get up there, but they could definitely, or in my opinion, they're probably a favorite to win the region. I can't think of anybody else in single A in the region that would probably even really, if they play good, that could give them a game. Yeah. Like if Honecker plays good. But the thing about that, like I said, is you don't have to be great offensively when you play defense, how they're going to play with, so. Maybe I'm.
Well, no, I agree with you. I think the size definitely helps them. I think they're, as far as the district goes, we were talking about the district. Kel Howey, I think, is really the only ones that might give them a game, and I would definitely still say Honecker's the favorite. But you never know. Cold shooting night. They had 3 key starters come back this year. They had already beat Eastside and Grayson County during the year. Isaac Booth, he's dead eye shooter. I think he had 53 3-pointers last year. He was a first team all district selection. They got a few other guys, coming back. The coach Matt Snodgrass, he had them 20-6 last year. So they're going to have talent. Ian Sturgill, good defensive player. Will they beat Honecker? I would say Honecker is definitely the favorite, but I think that Chilhowie is definitely the best competition they're going to have in that district.
Yeah, maybe even in the region. Chilhowie can compete with them. They might be a region. I don't know if it'll be finals. I don't know how it works out seeding wise,
Yeah.
But like I said, we'll go over in a minute the region and then like the summary of what we think. But yeah, look for Honecker obviously to win the Hogle-Higgy and the boys. Go to Mountain 7 girls, which has been the most ridiculously loaded competitive district probably in any division in the state as far as girls basketball goes over the last I don't know how many years. You can almost guarantee that somebody out of this district's going to be playing in a state championship game almost every year, it seems like. I mean, it is what it is. That's, a lot of people around here we don't follow, the Mountain 7 as closely, but especially girls, but I follow it. I think this is your best basketball right here, as far as top to bottom in a district, and there's a lot of high level basketball being played out there. A lot of good players. This year, we won't even talk about last year, but I mean, well, yeah, there's no point in really going over it last year, but this year you got Wise Central the favorite. Emma McCamus, I mentioned her dad, TJ McCamus, used to coach at Central Boys and played, and her brother was a really good player at Central, playing at UV Wise right now, but she's going into her junior year, I think. I'm pretty sure it's her junior year. She's already scored 1,478 points. Averaged 24 a game last year, I think. 5 rebounds a game, 4 assists. She was a 2A player of the year last year. They lost in the state championship to Clark County. I'm pretty sure just because she hurt her ankle at some point is probably the only reason they lost. They got the Grundy transfer from a couple of years ago, Madison Looney, tall girl post player, averaged like 10 points a game, I think. So and they got legendary coach Robin Dotson. So like this dude's won like, I don't know, 7 or 8 state championships or something crazy. I mean, they're gonna be back again, being the favorite in that district. But Abingdon, got the Richlands girls transferring. I can't remember her name, but she's really good too. They got some really high level, like really talented girls in that district. With McCamus and Trevette, maybe, is that her name?
Trevette, that's what I was thinking. I think it was Trevette.
And I've heard she's everything from 6'3" to 6'9". I think I finally got a good answer, and she's closer to 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I had
instead of the 6'8". I heard somebody told me she was like 6'8". So I think from a reliable source, somebody told me she was probably 6'3" or 6'4". But very talented, very good player. I think it's being recruited or maybe even signed to a D1 school already, maybe like Marshall, I heard, or maybe it was somebody else. But
they played Wise, didn't they? Towards the beginning of the year.
I think Wise has beat them twice already this year.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, they've played twice early on. I guess in holiday tournaments or something. But
yeah, it was I hope I'm saying this right. Ansley Trivett or Trevette, however you want to say it. I was trying to see if they had the score here from those games.
The first one was bad. They killed them.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
I don't know what the second was, but
yeah, I don't know. I was trying to see if I found it right here, but it don't have it on this particular thing I was looking at. But yeah, I mean, she's going to be impressive this year as well as that team.
Yeah, that should be a good battle moving forward throughout the year. I don't see anybody beating Central this year, but I mean, Abingdon figures it out. That'll be probably their biggest competition in that.
Do you think Gate City is going to give them a run this year? I mean, I know last year they had only lost by 1 to them in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think I had some stuff. I think they graduated a lot, maybe.
Yeah, they
only got one returning starter.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They got the coaches poll I seen in the paper that had them picked 4th behind the Ridgeview. So I mean, you never know, obviously, but I wouldn't think so unless they're a lot better than expected.
Yeah, seems like they got some young talent. I mean, they advanced to the junior varsity title game. I mean, I'm not sure what that's how much you want to carry that, or how much weight that carries, but at least it seems like they got some promising people
that could be
coming
9th or 10th graders playing also.
Yeah,
and then so I mean, you don't really know for sure what that entails, but yeah, you could have some 8th graders moving up that nobody knows about that could surprise people. I don't know. I think the coaches would know enough though. If it was obvious, they would have them up higher. But you never know. I mean, they could develop throughout the year, and like I said, they got Ridgeview at 3 in this preseason poll, so they got some work to do to climb up there. But
yeah,
I think it's Wyatt Central's district to lose. Like I said, Abingdon could be very competitive. You play a team enough times, you maybe figured out. So playing them early in the year like this may provide some, the experience and they need to play with them later in the year. But we'll find out, I guess, as we go along. But now the boys Mountain 7, Gate City's predicted to win it. I don't know much about Gate City's boys this year. I didn't get a chance to do enough research. I know they got that one guy, me and you were talking about before. They had 30-some the other night, but
the guy you're talking about, he's actually been working with Marcus McClung, who, if I'm not mistaken, is Mac's father. They had a pretty big off season, which has been paying off for him so far. I think he hit 8 3-pointers just in the game the other day. From everything that I've seen, he's one of the best players in this area. I've seen that from numerous articles, people talking about him. I think they did a big write-up on him before the season even started. So, Abingdon, they're also, you said Mountain 7, right?
Yeah, they were
as far as it comes to basketball.
Coming second in the poll this year.
Yeah,
that district starting off the season. I don't know. I think they're gotten off to a slow start maybe this year, what I see in the paper, but don't know anything about them other than they graduated their big kid, their 7-footer.
Yeah, I seen they had Luke Honaker, that he was there, and I think he was a quarterback, I think, in football.
I don't know. Central's picked 3. Union, you talking about beating Honaker tonight? They were predicted 4, so either they're maybe playing better than people predicted, or Mountain, that 2A being 2A and stuff. They're at divisions. Mountain boys, Mountain 7 is better than what I was thinking it would be. Then you got John Battle, Ridgeview, and Lehigh finishing out that list. I don't really know much about most of these schools this year. Really, I mean, nobody really jumps out that I've heard anybody talk about other than the kid from Gate City. Would love to try to get to a game or two out there and watch some of these teams, but we'll see how that goes. You got anything else on Mountain 7 for the boys that you want to throw out? Or we'll go to the Cumberland District, the boys side, the preseason poll or whatever you want to call it. Got East Side projected to finish first. Thomas Walker second. And then you got Twin Springs and Rye Cove. Imagine that. They're always competing, so they're tied for third in the preseason poll. And then Castlewood and J. Alberton tied for fifth. Not sure about anybody in this. I know Twin Springs lost a lot, lost two of the better players in the region from last year. I know Adam Hood is. I think he's in his first season at coaching at Rye Cove. You talk about a player. He was really, really good in high school. I can't remember how many years older than he was than me. If it was 1 or 2, maybe 3, I can't remember. But he was really good. He would put up a lot of points in a quick amount in a quick time. He could really play. He may actually be younger than me. I can't remember. Not sure about the age there, but he was really good. I remember hearing about him. I think him and Mark had some battles in the Old Cumberland district, head to head back in the day. Let's see. Castlewood, I seen they had 1,000-point score the other day. A kid got 1,000 points. Better than that, I haven't really heard anything about them. Don't know much about them. P. Wade's the head guy there now at Castlewood. Don't know anything about Thomas Walker, but that's interesting that they're picked second. I've not heard anything about them, but Eastside I know is very well coached. I'm not sure who they got back from their team from last year, but they've been in the regular in the region for the last several years, in and out. So you can almost expect them to be competitive and be up there at the end of the year. I don't know much. Honestly, I don't know much about the Cumberland District this year.
Well, I mean, you got for Twin Springs anyway. You got Abel Dingus. He had 12 points just the other day in their win over Cedar View. His quarterback during the football season. So I think you have a lot of those kids from that same age group over there that I'm sure having the winning culture in football, I'm sure it translates to basketball as well. And then go ahead.
I'm sorry. I don't think any of them. What grade are they? You know what grade he's in?
Abel, I think he's a part of that group with Kilgore, which I don't think Kilgore. I know I didn't see him on the stat line the other night. I'm not sure. I haven't got to look at their whole roster if he's on the basketball team, but I know that I think Abel's like a senior.
Okay.
They're part of that class that came all the way up through.
Well, see, granted they had that. I don't want to say this sound bad, but I don't remember none of them from last year at all. But they had 2 really good players there last year that probably dominated the stat line. So maybe that's why you didn't hear as much about them. But the fact that they're projected to finish third, they're probably I'm not sure it translate over like you're thinking it might. But they got, Tyler Webb was a really good player that Twin Springs. I played against him. He played at Appy State. Big guy. He's head coach at Twin Springs. So he's been in, I think, since he's took over that job with that young group that he had that graduated last year. They've been competitive in the region. So, he's no stranger to the region and being in region. Being competitive in region. So he may be able to figure out, take those athletes and have them where they need to be by the end of the year. So maybe this poll is a little bit misleading. You never know. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned the kid from Castlewood, Caden Dishman. He had just the other night. He had 23 points and 10 rebounds and 5 assists. So I think he's the lead guy there for Castlewood. But you also got Braden Houchins, and he had a pretty good game. They had beat Twin Valley the other day.
Yeah.
So P. Wade's got a few talented guys out there.
Yeah. So and they got them preseason tied for 5th. So it just goes to I guess I don't know. Like I said, I'm not sure about none of them. Would have to really maybe go watch some of them games or talk to somebody out there. But
before Gunner Garrett is a guy from Gate City, and he is a 6'7" senior.
Oh, he's 6'7"?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, 6'7", and just the other night he had I think 8 3-pointers in the game they had, finished 34 points. But what I was saying about McClung, Mac McClung's father, he had been working with him. Him and I'm trying to think. There's another coach which you may be familiar with him since you know more of the figures in the coaching world. Marks McClung was one, and then he'd been training with the former coach Greg Irvin. Has also been
Yeah,
helping him.
that's I don't know if it's Zach's dad or not. I think they're related for sure. Zach
Yeah,
Irvin that played
yeah,
with
plays
Mac and
Mac.
graduated.
Yeah,
He's at Elon right now. I think his senior year,
yeah,
maybe or junior senior year. A lot of Elon references over the last guy from Radford, the girl from
yeah.
Carroll County, and now Zach
It's
playing there
wild.
now. Yeah, but yeah. Did you ever get to watch any of them play? Zach and
Yeah, yeah. Me and you went and watched him play North Mecklenburg at the Arby's. You
okay,
remember that?
I couldn't remember if you got to go or not. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I was
Zach
there for
kind of
that.
got overlooked a lot, just because of Mac, but Zach was really, really good.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
Probably a more consistent, like just skill wise, offensive player. Probably better than Mac a little bit. I mean, probably couldn't handle it as good, but and didn't have the explosiveness and the jumping ability that Mac had. But just as far as shooting, and it was probably a little better, honestly, or at least more consistent in high school probably than Mac
Yeah,
was. But yeah, he could feel it up too, man. He was really good. He's one of the better players ever played around here. Also, that kind of gets forgot about almost because of how good Mac was. I call him Mac like I know him, but McClung obviously is what I'm talking about.
yeah,
But yeah, they had a run, and Bradley Dean, I think's his name, that played with them when he was
yeah.
younger,
He was good.
scored like 2,000 points. They had like 3 2,000 point scorers there in back to back to back years. I think I think he went to Wise originally. I think he might be at Miami, Ohio now, playing if I ain't mistaken. But he was really good. They were loaded. But anyway, Cumberland girls preseason has the East Side picked at 1, Burton picked at 2. I think that's really all. That's kind of who the front runners are. They I'll go over the rest, but you got Rycove at 3, Thomas Walker at 4, Twin Springs 5, Castle at 6. But this district definitely goes through Eastside and J.I. Burton. Both teams got a lot back from last year, if not most. I think most of their starters back. Um, Could be it should be interesting to watch them two go at it this year. Thomas Walker has a very good player, the big girl, can't remember her name, but she's really good. I'm not sure what she has around her as far as competing with Eastside or Burton, but I know they got a very good player. But Burton's got several that, from what I remember watching them last year, nobody like really jumps off the page at you as far as like taking over games or like feeling one really good or not, but they're just very consistent and very good all around, like as a team. East Side's almost the same way as far as that goes on defensive end, but they got I can't remember her name, which is really sad because
Well,
my
I will
brother-in-law
say
coaches there. But
you said for East Side.
yeah,
Is it Azzy Hammonds?
Azzy,
Yeah,
she can put some points up in a hurry.
yeah.
Very good offensive player.
Scoring champ from the district last
Yeah,
year, I
oh
think.
yeah,
Yeah,
shooter. I think she's just let's see. I think she was a junior last year and had her 1,000 points. Maybe got her 1,000 points her sophomore year. If not her sophomore year, early in her junior year. So so she can fill it up. Very good offensive player, and they got a good defense as far as team wise. They got a big girl on the post that's pretty solid, well coached stuff, and so yeah, they're going to be a good team, a team to beat in the region. Also, I think, but Dylan Burton both will be there. I think when it comes down to the region. guess that's about it, ain't it? Can't think of
Yeah, I
anybody else.
think
We've got everybody.
so.
I mean, I know you don't follow basketball as much, but if you want to look ahead, maybe to the girls 1A in region, maybe throw what do you think would be, just what are your thoughts on who might be there at the end, or do you have any kind of
I mean,
prediction there?
I definitely think you're gonna have Honecker, of course. I think you're gonna have them there. East side be up there. Those are the two that stick out to me. It's like I'm missing one. We just went over, but obviously, I think Honecker is definitely going to be the one that's going to compete.
Yeah,
I see them competing again for state like they have every year. Misty's done a great job there. I think this is going to continue. You're definitely more in depth with it than I am, in which I'm, at least on the varsity girls side there, all the coaches and some of the people in the inner workings there. So yeah, I'm definitely going to have to catch up with you in that regard. But
well,
I think Honecker definitely.
Yeah, I don't know any of the coaches that have won really, but how I am about basketball. I could watch it, and I will go watch it, and especially local, even if it's girls or not. But I just like good basketball, so I'll go to all these region tournament stuff. But if I had to pick somebody, I feel like it's going to be a 2-district race this year in the region. I don't think anybody from Black Diamond. I don't think when it comes down to the region. I don't know. I mean, I may be wrong. I'll have to go watch them, but I don't think Grundy will be good enough to really make a push there to get to the Final Four in the region. I think your region is going to come down to basically 2 out of the Hogle-Higgy being Honecker and Roar Retreat, and then you got Eastside and Burton in the Cumberland. It just depends on how they get matched up seeding wise and how they're rotating every year. Who would make it to the finals, but I think if I had to pick, I would imagine your favorites are probably Honecker and Eastside, but I have no idea about Roar Retreat, obviously, other than what I've read. I've not watched them play. But yeah, Eastside lost the state championship game last year, and they got everybody back pretty much but one player. So they're obviously going to be there, or you would think so. Honecker, we've talked about them. I think they're going to be there. I think that'll be a really good matchup. But I think that'll be my 2 favorites that to make it out of the region would be those 2. But Burton, man, they're pretty good too. So I mean, that'd be my 4. You just get down to that time of year, you gotta defend people and you gotta be able to get stops, and that I know it's cliche to say, but defense does win championships. So I think teams that can do that and be able to put some points up are obviously going to have the better chance. But yeah, so I mean, I think it's more. I think it's more the same this year. Honecker and Eastside probably your 2 top teams, but that's 1A, 2A girls, and I mean it's got to be. I don't know. We didn't really go over the Southwest District. I don't know what anybody that's got boys or girls. Not sure why we completely forgot about that district, but we did on both of them. But I think the 2A district or region goes through Y Central again. Abingdon will be competitive, but other than that, I don't see. I don't know of anybody anyway, unless Graham's got something or Tazle maybe. I bet no, Tazle can't because I've seen scores today. They're losing. They've lost a couple of games to 1A schools, so I don't think they got enough there. So basically, your Mountain 7 again is going to represent the region in 2A.
Yeah, I mean, at least with the Southwest District. I mean, Graham had. Last year they were coming off the 2-19 season.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do have some talent coming in, but I mean they were, not quite.
Yeah.
What you would probably want coming into
Marion,
this
maybe.
year.
I don't know what Marion had. Who else?
Yeah, well,
Richlands is going to be down because they lost all their best players to Aberdeen.
I actually had that district. Yeah, so Marion's actually the preseason number one.
Okay, so
And you got
Marion may be
Virginia
there
High.
at the end. Oh yeah, Virginia High. Yeah.
Yeah, you got Virginia High 2, Richlands 3, Lebanon 4, Graham 5, and Tazewell at 6. It's according to the preseason polls.
So Marion and Virginia High could, I don't know what they got, but they could be up there at the end of the year. So you don't know, but I would, if I had to put money on it, I'd say Central wins the region again. But if Aberdeen being there with them, playing them probably, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
2A boys region, again, we didn't really go over to Southwest District, so I don't know who. I think Virginia High is probably going to be pretty good again, from what I remember from last year. They should be all right. I think they got a good coach out there.
Yeah, I got the preseason for it too.
Who you got?
Yeah, the coaches poll, and it was 1 Graham, 2
again.
Lebanon, 3 Virginia High, 4 Marion, 5 Tazewell, and 6 Richlands.
Yeah, Lebanon though, I don't know. I don't know if they can compete at 2A. I guess it depends on how good everybody else is, but this might be a good year for them. Like maybe all of these teams being down some. But if Union beat Honaker tonight, then unless something crazy happens, then Union's better than Lebanon.
Yeah, I think Lebanon's got some talent there. Reese has had a few pretty good games, and they got some other guys too. We got some transfers from Honaker, I think, which made for a pretty tense game the other day between those two teams. It was a pretty packed house, I reckon, the other day. So I mean, they have some talent coming off that 22-4 season, but from the way I see it, the Graham team, they're pretty high on. They got a pretty good point guard, and I had read about him somewhere else too. But Markel Ray is a junior, a little 5'6" point guard.
Yeah, I might have tried to check them out then if they're projected to win that. I think Lebanon's going to be a live by the 3, die by the 3 type of team this year.
Yeah.
If they make enough threes, they could be in some games. But if not, I think anybody could probably play with them. In the 2A, because the 2A is different. I mean, I know it's not the same as football as far as that goes, but it's still different.
Well, I was going to say, so the on Graham, because I mentioned Ray, Blake Graham is also supposed to be one of the top players in the district for them, and a lot of their guys played on the football team. So I'm not sure what they've done so far this year. Some other teams I've kept up with, but with them, I've not really got to see what they've done so far. But it seems to be that they're a pretty quick bunch. But a lot of those guys played football, and they had dropped close games last year to Virginia High in the Southwest District Tournament and Region 2D title. So I think it said they had lost 49-28 at Radford. I guess that was last year. So, or no, that might be, Class 2 quarterfinals. And Ray had 11 points in it. So
Graham's probably going to be up there with Gate City and.
Could possibly be.
Maybe Virginia High.
Yeah. It kind of took me back for a second because I seen they lost to Radford and it. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
A young Union
make sure I was on the right thing.
Might emerge out there. I don't really know enough about it.
Yeah.
But, did we go over 2A or 1A boys yet? We ain't, have we?
No. But I think both of those, we're about in agreement. What Honaker and Grundy, you think are probably the top two with Honaker?
Honaker, I don't know what East Side's got for sure. I know they're always competitive. I don't know what they lost, what they didn't. I have to see them. I have to really, see them play and see what all they got. Nobody else out of the Black Diamond, obviously. Grundy's the only one that would have a shot. But you got to throw Grundy up there. And them along with
Yeah.
Honecker, and I guess a Chill Howley coming out of the Hoglehiggy. So Grundy very well could find their way back into the region championship game if they play good enough. So yeah, depending on what some of the other schools got, but there's a good chance you'll have Grundy and Honecker both could play again in the region championship, or at least be in the semis. So there's that. But I kind of wrap it up, I guess, on the high school. But unless you got anything else.
No, I mean next week, we'll go. I'll try to go a little bit more in depth with because we'll be able to kind of got the brief preview and stuff going into the year.
I did want
But
to. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say we'll start trying to get. I mean, basketball's a little bit different than football. Football, you can kind of really knock it out week to week basis because it's one game. But we'll try to do a week to week thing and cover as many games as we can. It's a little bit more broad, and especially we're going to cover varsity boys and girls. But we're going to do the best we can going forward, and we'll have some of the players and stuff on it as well. Just bear with us, adjusting to a different way of researching these and getting in contact with these as opposed to the football.
I can't not mention this with Christmas coming up in next week. It's starting Tuesday, the day after Christmas. But this has been a tradition that goes back as far as I guess I'm pretty sure I was younger than 10 the first time I went, and we went there for a long time. I want to say it was up until after I graduated high school that there was a year that I didn't get to go at least one night or day to watch the Arby's Classic. But my dad started taking me to the Arby's Classic when I was little, and I fell in love with it. It was like a huge deal at our house going to the Arby's. When you're growing up playing basketball, for a while I had two dreams. College wasn't really a thing that I dreamed about doing. I started thinking about it as I got a little older, but like as a young kid, like I didn't have dreams of playing in college. It's really weird, but I had dreams of winning. I always wanted to win a state championship ever since the time I was little because of the, dad talking about that and the movie Hoosiers and watching Hoosiers and seeing that movie and just hearing things and, stories about, Jeff and them almost making it. But that was what I wanted. I wanted to win a state championship. And I wanted to play in the Arby's Classic. That was the two things that I thought about as a young kid growing up playing basketball. I wanted to do those things. So I almost got the state championship, but I never got to play in Arby's. Never even got close. We didn't get invited for some reason. Not sure why, but
which is kind of wild to think about.
It really is kind of
success that y'all had.
What I heard was you're always a year behind because you got to be a certain level of good before they get their attention, and then you might get invited. So that's how I think Twin Valley benefited from that one year. They made it to the Final Four, and then they had everybody back the next year, so they got to go. Made it to the Arby's. We didn't have everybody back the year after we made it to the state tournament. So you can't just be locally good. You got to make it to a state tournament almost before you can get invited. But the fact that we made it and then we graduated 4 people, that was kind of a problem. But if they'd been paying attention, they would have known we was going to be really good because of transfer. But whatever.
Yeah.
That was my dream. So I'd be crazy not to talk about the Arby's this year a little bit before we get off here. But just to go over it real quick. In 2022, last year's tournament, 6 of the 18 teams were eventually state champs. They said the director, Richard Inser, said that this year's field could be better, even better, he thinks. So, going to be some really good teams and games going on over there. You got a couple that are already preseason top 25 teams, and that's nationally ranked. Let's see. You got Mentor, Ohio, who's been in there several times. Jackson Reed out of Washington, D.C., South Shore out of New York. You got the 2022 state champion in Florida, Modern Lakes Academy. You got the 2022 state champion out of South Carolina, Dorman. You got Cale, Georgia, who's the 2022 state champion in Georgia. You got the Imhotep, I think it is, Institute out of Pennsylvania. That was the 2022 state champion in Pennsylvania. Then you got George Wyatt, who's the state runner-up in Virginia. Independence, Tennessee, the state runner-up. Then you got Harlan County out of Kentucky. That's supposed to be absolutely really loaded. Harlan is. They're supposed to be really, really good. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good tournament. If anybody hears this and wants to, look it up, players to watch this year include Ahmad Noel, whatever. I'm not sure how he pronounces that. He's a 6'4" guard who is committed to play at Tennessee. And is a top 30 player. Kale's out of Georgia. Peyton Marshall, he's a 6'11" center. He'll be playing at Auburn. Jackson Reed's Rob Dockery. It's a 6'7" forward who's committed to play at Texas A&M. Harlan County's Trent Noah is a 6'7" guard. This is his 5th year starter out of Kentucky, so he's really, really good. I read an article about him. Apparently he's really good. He's a candidate for Player of the Year in Kentucky this year. Averaged 26 a game in 2022. I've seen a thing. I think he might be going to South Carolina or leaning towards going to South Carolina. The South Shore's Anthony Gilks is a 6'6" guard, and he's considered to be one of the top 10 players in New York. So it's going to be a really good field in Arby's this year. If anybody's not familiar with that and has not heard about it, you really need to check it out. It is amazing tournament, amazing high school basketball. The dunk contest is really good every year. They have a 3-point contest. I'm sure most of the people that listen to this podcast already know about it, but in case there's somebody out there who doesn't know about it, it is 100% worth the trip and going and sitting all day watching some basketball.
When is this?
This starts on the 26th. It'll be a Tuesday after Christmas, and goes through the 31st. I want to think it'll be the finals. So I'm probably not going to get to go because of work unless I get to go to maybe that Saturday. But we'll see how it goes. But
it's interesting to see George Witham there too. I mean, that's
they're benefiting from last year making the state tournament back, right, and now they got everybody back. So they're kind of how Twin Valley was in 2008, 9, or 19, whatever it was. Making it down there and then getting everybody back. Yeah. So that's because they're supposed to be pretty good again. George Witham is, so that'd be a fun team to watch. But I really would like to see that Harlan County team. I think they're supposed to be really good. There'd be a lot of good teams, so it'd be worth checking out if anybody wants to.
Great week of basketball, great for this area. It has been for a long time. So, and
like I said earlier, that girls tournament, they call it's at Viking Hall where the Arby's is at. Yeah, it's kind of like the same situation. They're trying to build that up, do the same thing as bring in really good teams from out of the area. But that's going to be, as far as just really good games and really good competition, that'll be a really good one to watch also this weekend. I think it starts on Thursday and goes through Saturday, I think is what Mark told me. So that'll be a really good, really good games to watch and some talented teams and stuff. So, but yeah, a lot of basketball around here going on right now, especially these holiday tournaments and stuff. So,
yeah, we won't get into. Do you want to kind of save? Do you want to go ahead and talk about some of the college basketball, or do you want to wait on it? Or
we can wait on it. Everybody's got that on ESPN, knows about it. I just was going to touch on a few of them that but basically ain't a lot changed. You got, you got some shuffling back and forth, but
Some big games this past weekend.
Y'all got beat tonight, I think. By the way, did you know that?
I didn't. I ain't got to look at it.
I think Memphis beat y'all.
Yeah, Memphis got a good team this year. They beat Clemson the other day, in which I had Clemson winning that one. But yeah, we got beat pretty bad by them.
I thought that'd be a closer game than what it was, but
we didn't look great the other day against Northeastern. Which first half was pretty close, but the second half, Memphis really pulled away 39-22 in the second half. We got a young team, a lot of transfer. Well, not a lot, but we have a few transfers and stuff too. So we're still working things out, but I'm not bummed out about it. I think we're working through things.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Good on basketball stuff. If you want
to something that, and I ain't gonna stay on it because I know we're running pretty late, and you gotta get up in the morning, and we want to just at least list off the country music stuff real quick. But I did want to say, we didn't get a chance to do our preview for UFC 296. Just quick thoughts on it. We watched the card together here the other night, and what we thought was going to be, overall, I think it was a good card. You had some good undercards, fights and stuff. Josh Emmett on the main card sent Bryce Mitchell into the Shadow Realm, and lucky that he's still alive.
Scarier knockouts that I've seen. That was
and
that was crazy.
I think I'm speaking for you too. I think we're pretty big Bryce Mitchell fans, and Bryce was very thankful for Emmett that he didn't pile on and start throwing some extra punches there because he could have vicious knockout.
He probably didn't put that out until today or yesterday, whenever it came out, because he probably really didn't wake up until
yesterday. It's a few days.
Yeah. I'd say he really wasn't all there until a couple of days after that happened, because that was scary.
It was bad. Paddy the Baddie, Pimlet, hype train from out towards England way. He beat Tony Ferguson, but it went 3 rounds. Ferguson had David Goggins in his corner. Impressive. I want to say impressive showing by Ferguson in a way. He got beat the whole fight, but he made it to the end. He had some of his best moments on his back, but that's because Paddy put him there. So
yeah.
I think Paddy showed some, I don't say immaturity, but he showed some lack of experience in the UFC ring anyway. Like, there's just things you don't do. You don't play when you already have the fight won. You don't play to Ferguson's strengths.
You don't, but what's his name did the same thing. So
yeah, we're gonna get to it too. Yeah, and that was stupid too.
He's got the experience and he's been there and done that. So
yeah, so we had Shavkat Rakhmonov, which is just an amazing fighter coming up through the welterweight division. He's still undefeated. He beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by submission in round 2. I think you was telling me that that was the first time Wonderboy's ever been finished.
I think it's the first time he's ever been finished. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And Shavkat actually can't remember his ankle or what it was. He actually had a pretty major injury going into this fight, and he fought with it anyway and still won. So he's definitely a name to watch for going forward. Dominant force in the welterweight division. Flyweight division, which is the co-main event, which is probably the fight of the night, honestly. The ones that I remember watching.
By far
on the main card anyway.
Yeah,
now the
card,
undercard, you had the female fight with I think it was Irene Aldana and Carol Rosa. That fight right there, both of those women, they were messed up at the end of that fight. It was a war. But as far as the main card goes, best fight of the night, co-main event, Pantoja ended up coming away with it, defending his title against Brandon Royval. And that fight, Pantoja did win. I think when you watched it, I think that was pretty obvious, but it wasn't like a dominant performance. And when I say that, it's not for the lack of what he did. I mean, it was still very impressive what he did. But Royval also had a lot of bright moments, but I would have still gave Pantoja the win. I think everybody that watched it would have agreed. that he did win, but I think it was a closer fight than what you initially look at when you see that he won by unanimous decision.
Yeah, because and another thing that makes it look like it, especially if you watched it, because his best moments were coming in the later rounds also.
Yeah.
So like, he seemed to be the stronger, at least better conditioned fighter of the two in the later rounds. He just, when they got him down and took him down there, but he just really didn't have an answer for any of that. So.
Well, yeah, the takedowns are the deciding factor because Royval had 380 strikes or 390 strikes thrown to Pantoja's 195.
Yeah,
and that was thrown and wasn't connected, but still, I mean, the output was way different.
So he had a few moments there where he did land a few, but anytime that he got in any kind of rhythm and got hurt him at all or made him feel any kind of pressure, just took him down and absolutely controlled everything, which is what you do when you're. I mean, that's smart. So obviously, it's not no shot at him for doing it. I'm just saying it's that's why he's champ, because he can. Anytime he needed to, he could take the fight to the ground and just control him. He didn't even have to really hurt him or apply a lot of pressure. He just can control him. So,
well, he had 8 takedowns from the fight, and given the fact that the significant strike totals were actually kind of close between the two, Pantoja had 95, Royval had 111, but those takedowns swayed it for sure. The main event after
we shouldn't even talk about it.
I know. It was one of this.
Still, this
most bizarre.
You go
fights.
ahead. You're going to say the same thing.
Yeah, most bizarre fights I have ever watched as being a fan of the UFC and probably even just being a fan of MMA, even in the other ones I've watched. Crazy
it wasn't
week.
Just bizarre during the fight. His reaction after the fight was bizarre.
It was all bizarre.
It's all very odd and weird, and honestly, it was. I hate using the word cringy because I think it's overused, but
well, he's a guy
it's a little
borderline
weird.
sometimes.
It's very odd how he behaved after the fight. I think, like I told you Saturday, if he really thought he won, he really needs to be checked for some kind of brain damage.
Well, in the post-fight interviews and stuff up there, he mentioned, wanting to fight Wonder Boy. So it wasn't like he started to come down to earth a little bit, I think, and understand where he stood. But I'll just say that, the welterweight main event was Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington. And, we're, of course, talking about Colby in this situation. And, it was a lot of bad blood last week. Colby really got it going when, Leon's father, people don't know, back in the day, Leon's father was murdered, I think when he was 13, and I think he was involved in some, gang situation, whatever. Nevertheless, he still grew up without his father, and his mom, took on the weight of raising him and his brothers. So it's still a sensitive issue, and Colby told him that he was going to drag him to hell, and he's going to see we'd see his father there, or whatever.
You just butchered that, but yeah, basically that's what.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to
your delivery wasn't as smooth.
I didn't want to exactly quote the whole thing, but pretty much said that he was going to see his father in hell when he took him, when he drug him there in the fight. But anyway, it proceeded to make Leon throw a water bottle at him, and I mean, you could see the emotion on Leon's face, and so, he talked about it even after the fight, how emotional he got, how he went in the back, and he was so mad he could cry, and all that. So to see that, then you thought going into this fight, the way Colby had fought in every fight prior to this was he was nonstop, constant pressure, constant takedowns, constant activity, and what we saw the other night was, gosh, it leaves me speechless. I don't know what it was. I guess age really had hit Colby.
I wonder, well, you talked about it Saturday, like when it was going on. He looked very sluggish, but then Dana White said it after the fight that old and slow. I don't think he'll fight for another belt or have another shot at the belt again unless when it was just rust and he proves that's what it was and he comes out in his next fight and looks completely different and maybe wins a couple more and then gets another shot. But if he looks like that, he ain't gonna beat anybody. I mean,
no, he won't. And I honestly, after that fight, if that's how he can fight now, if that's where he's at now in his career, I would be okay if he never fought again.
You know, DC said on Rogan's podcast well before this fight, like, it wouldn't, it come out however many weeks before Saturday, but he talked about how Kobe did less or did more with less than anybody in the UFC. So he's never been the fastest person, never been the strongest person, never been the whatever. Keep naming them off. He's never been like, really all he had was a lot of heart, condition, and stuff like that. And he applied pressure. That's really the only thing he had. I mean, that's why he say he's done more with less than anybody. Yeah. So if he don't have that, he don't have anything else to fall back on. He ain't going to outstrike anybody. He's not going to out grapple or submit anybody. That's because he's good at all those things, but he has to have that other aspect to make those work for him. And if he's not quick and then explosive and can apply that pressure and has that cardio, then he, like you said, he might as well not even fight because it's just not going to be good.
No, I mean it's not him, and when you fight like that, the trash talk just doesn't work. The appeal's not there.
And if he can't do the trash talk, he can't sell fights.
No,
so that's the only reason. Like we said, that's the whole reason he does it. He started this whole persona, anyways, because he was about to get dropped by UFC because nobody wanted a draw. So he come up with this whole greetings, nerds and virgins thing that he does on his booking thing. But like. He started to be a heel kind of person, and he jumped on he's using the politics as a thing to be like, what's it called when you're like polarizing thing, and he took it and used it to his advantage. But if you can't fight, then nobody's gonna. That's the only reason you can do all that and say all that stuff and be a draw is by doing that is because you are a good fight. If you're not a good fight, nobody cares what you're saying. Nobody wants to hear that. They'll get rid of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think at this point, the more he fights, the more damage he's going to do to his brand. He might as well just back off. But before we close it out, the biggest fight of the night happened in the crowd.
Yeah, definitely landed more punches than Kobe did. But
Sean Strickland and Dracus, or I'm going to butcher this, Dracus Duplessis.
That's closer, yeah. Duplessis.
Yeah, Duplessis. I don't know. Anyway, Duplessis, or however you say his name, they put him, and this is Dana White's fault. He said it. They put him behind Sean Strickland in the crowd for this fight, and they're the main event for the next fight. And they had already had a lot of bad blood coming up through this week. Duplessis had said a lot of things about Sean Strickland's situation with him, getting abused when he was a kid. A real sensitive thing for Sean, which would be, but Strickland's also a guy that says a lot of off the wall things too, so you don't ever know how he would handle that. But the Gilbert Burns' wife was actually there behind Sean, and she even tweeted out that she doesn't really like Sean that much, but Dracus had challenged Sean to fight him right then and there, and then Sean was polite enough to say, "Hey, can you all step to the side?" And then, of course, he jumped up and started punching him. And so I thought that gave a little bit of insight that it wasn't just Sean fighting over no reason. Like, the guy said, "Hey, we'll come do something." And, of course, Sean being Sean did. And thanks to you, you told me about the podcast with Sean and Joe. And on the way home today, I was listening to it a little bit, and I only got like probably 20, 30 minutes into it, but that is amazing, even just 20, 30 minutes in.
It gives you a lot of insight into what he's kind of, as much of a persona or whatever, or like a show that you feel like Kobe puts on to be that.
Yeah.
Sean Strickland's the exact opposite. Like he's not. That's exactly who he is, and
Oh,
who
he's
he's
authentic,
always
yeah.
been. Like he's just about that's what you see is what you get. I seen a thing today. He apparently went on Theo Vaughn's podcast and broke down
Yeah.
and had a real moment. So like, most of you get to see another side of him. It seems like I haven't got to see it yet, but
Yeah, I think he's just raw. I mean, whether
he's
you
one of them.
like it
He
or not, he's
wears
gonna tell you.
his emotions on his sleeve. I feel like,
Yeah.
so he's one of them
Yeah.
people where, especially if he's in a situation where he's maybe willing to open up about some things, you're probably going to see that other side. But for the most part, he doesn't open up about it. So all you see is that, that side that's, that hard side or that funny side or that,
Yeah.
so like that, which is fine. That's just, you're probably going to know what he's feeling most of the time because he's one of the people, you don't
I was
really
gonna tell
hide
you.
how he's feeling. Which,
Yeah.
there's something to be said about that. It's a good thing for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, it can, some people say you good or bad, but at least with people like that, good or bad, you know what you're getting, obviously. So,
Oh yeah,
but
he ain't gonna be
he's a real
shady.
guy. He's authentic. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that fight. That'll be a good one.
Yeah, it'll be a huge fight. UFC 297. It'll be January 20th, and I'm sure we'll preview that when it comes around. Just to close it out here, before we get off here, we'll just tell you real quick our country music stuff, and then I'm not gonna talk about hardly any of these, but I'll just go ahead and throw them out there. I didn't do one for this week because I felt like we missed out, given that we had a few weeks here, we didn't do one. I missed out on the file that I wanted to put out, and last week was not, I thought, a great week for country music, but the week before that, I really liked the 5 songs that were there. So I'm going to throw this out there, and, we got some this week, but I'm not going to put them into it. But my Porch Talks Top 5 New Country. Number 5 is a Sober Thing by Cody Jinks. Number 4 is Town Left Me, the acoustic version by Mae Estes. Then number 3 is Take It Like a Man by Chris Cagle. Number 2 is Where I Grew Up by Dylan Carmichael. And my number 1 song was 3 Feet Tall by Cole Swindell. I'm not going to talk about 2 through 5. Chris Cagle, he's coming back with an album, and that's very exciting. It's been great so far, the songs he has put out. But number 1, that song is a pretty sad song. But I just wanted to talk about it just very quick. It's about the perspective of a kid, what he's experiencing when the parents go through a divorce. And as somebody that's, had that in my family and then through other families that I'm connected to and everything else, the kid in the situation sometimes isn't talked about. I mean, it is talked about a lot, but from that kid's point of view, isn't talked about a whole lot. Compared to the the issues that's going on at hand with the parents and that particular issue itself is a big issue within the country and stuff, and I think it is a lot more relevant today than it has been maybe in the time of our parents or our grandparents and on down the line. So it's a great song. For me, I really enjoyed listening to it. Kind of gives you an insight on what a kid might be thinking when, maybe like me and my wife might be arguing or something, and it makes you really take a step back. So again, 3 Feet Tall was my number 1 song. Called Swindell, Swindell, ain't it? We're getting late in the night now.
It just
We're
cracks me
getting
up that
pretty.
you did back to back
I
times
did it
though.
twice, yeah.
Either way, whether which one's right, you did it the same as that. That's what I'm laughing
Well, I'm
about.
just covering both bases.
I know. I appreciate it.
So, anyway, what's your throwback of the week?
In honor of the Arby's Classic and the Harlan County being in it this year, which I meant to say earlier, they were in the first a team from, it wasn't Harlan County High School, it was a team from Harlan County at the time because they hadn't consolidated yet. It was in the inaugural Arby's Classic in 1983. and it's the first time a team from Harlan has been back in 40 years. So, in honor of that, "You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive" is my song, and this song was written and originally recorded by musician Daryl Scott in 1997. So it's not a real far throwback, but 97 was pretty, long enough ago. But it's also been recorded, by Patty Loveless, Brad Paisley, and a couple other people. So,
I love Brad Paisley's version.
Yeah, but Daryl Scott was the original songwriter, and produced it on his album Aloha from Nashville. So, and it's been famous in the movie, in the show Justified. It was on there. It kind of brought it back again, also. So, but yeah, I love that song. Have you heard? I mean, I know you've heard it, but like, have you?
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. It's just something about it that just.
We were there when. I know Brad Paisley wasn't the original, but we were there when he sung it in Kentucky, and we went watching.
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually talked to a guy from. When was that? I was working at Knox Creek at the time. And I guess these guys, I don't know what they were coming in for, but they were working on our section, and they were from Harlan. One of them was, and I got to talk to him about Justified, and he wasn't a big fan of how everything got portrayed. Which, I mean, I guess I can see see that, but he said there was a lot of what you call truths to some of what looked like, but it's just, I guess you got a negative connotation to it, so he wasn't a real big fan. But yeah, anyway, I love that show, love that song, everything about it. So that's my throwback.
Awesome. I'm not gonna die or ain't gonna have a long closing because Jamar's got to bed. He's got a very short nap here for so good, but
yeah, I got about 4 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah, you're like me the other night. I think I slept 2 hours. Bo figured out how to climb out of his playpen and open the door.
Fish hook you too, didn't you? You sent me a video.
Oh yeah, fish hooked me in the nose pretty good.
Yeah, so.
But I tell you, it was funny that he figured out how to get out of his playpen, and I hear a bunch of bang, bang, bang on the door.
Boy.
And next thing I know, he turns the doorknob and. Welcome a new part of our parenthood because we're going to have to figure out how to contain him. So, I got 2 hours of sleep there, not before last. But again, just to echo what we said, next week we'll try to touch on more week-to-week basis what we can do on basketball, and we'll start getting these coaches and players on. We already have some that was going to come on this week, and didn't get it going yet, but
got a few lined up. Looking forward to some stuff coming up. So, but I don't think we'll be back on unless something just. No, you can't because you're working. So I don't think we'll be back on before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody enjoys their their weekend and their Christmas Day and all that, and time with family, and stay safe and enjoy it. We appreciate all the support.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to conclude another episode. Thank you guys again, and God bless.